Hey guys, it's Xander here, and we're back looking at brews in Standard. This is a fun one I put together for a friend of mine who was having a bit of trouble trying to find a spot for Sai Master Thoperist in the new rotation. So in the previous one, there was a blue-red side deck that he liked playing, and it was running like Paradoxical Outcome to bounce artifacts back and then play them, and then get a heap of Thopters, and Ate the Flux Reservoir, which allowed you to gain a heap of life and then storm off and kill someone. With those cards gone, this is my interpretation of what is going to be the new side deck, and I'm also trying to break open another card in the current standard at the moment too, which is Experimental Frenzy. So I'm going to talk about the deck, going to talk about the interactions between it and the sideboard, and hopefully you guys enjoy the video. So we're going to start the lineup with a 4 of Experimental Frenzy, which is for 3 and a red. It's an enchantment that sits on the battlefield, and then you may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play the top card of your library. You can't play cards from your hand, and for 4, so 3 and a red, destroy Experimental Frenzy. So the one thing that will slow this down and stops it from being completely OP is you can't play more than 1 land in a turn, normally. So if you're, like, there's a lot of stuff in green that allow you to play additional lands, that's one way to do it. But otherwise, you play a land off the top, and when you get to the next land, it stalls out. That's usually where it stops. In this, we're playing a few different ways to filter cards off the top of the deck, and that's our way around it. But yeah, the card's really, really good, and it's popping up everywhere. So I definitely think this is going to be a big part of Standard going forward. Also running a 4 of Power Stone Shard, which is an artifact for 3. So it sits on the battlefield, and it's got tap, add 1 colorless mana for each artifact you control named Power Stone Shard. So at most, this card's only going to tap for 4, but it's still ramp. It's still an artifact. It synergizes well with a lot of the stuff in the deck, and it's mana that we need so that we can keep playing more stuff off the top of the deck. So running that in 4 of, we're running a 4 of Treasure Map, which is for 2. It's an artifact that sits on the battlefield. It's a 1 tap scry 1, so you can put the top card of your library onto the bottom of your library. You then put a landmark counter on Treasure Map. When it's got 3 or more, you transform it, and then you get 3 treasure tokens, which sack them for coloured mana. The flip side is Treasure Cove. Treasure Cove is tap for 1 colourless, or tap sacrifice a treasure to draw a card. So if, like I've said, if we've got the second land sitting on top, we can tap sack a treasure to draw a card. That puts the land into a hand, and we can keep playing stuff off the top. Either side of that card, it's filtering the top deck, and it's just a really good way to help us out. Another filtering card that we're running here is a 4 of Wand of Vertebrae, which is a 1-cost artifact, so it's dirt cheap. It sits on the battlefield, and it's just got tap, put the top card of your library into your graveyard. And the other ability is pay 2, tap, exile it, shuffle up to 5 target cards from your graveyard into your library. So the top ability is just filtering off the top again, allows us to get rid of the lands and keep playing cards that we want. So that's always going to be good. It's an artifact, so it's synergizing in the deck, which is fantastic. But the ability to shuffle 5 things from our graveyard back into our library means that if they do answer Experimental Frenzy, or if they do answer Sai, or any of our other cards, we can just get them back into our deck. It's just value. So we're definitely running this going to 4 of, and that gives us more than 8 pieces that are in artifacts at least that can help us filter off the top of the deck, which is really, really valid. Also running some removal in the form of Blood Teller Candle, which is a 1-cost artifact. So again, it's dirt cheap, and it's an artifact. And its ability is 6 tap sacrifice it to give target creature -5/-5 until end of turn. Now, -5/-5 is no joke. That's killing like 90% of the format. It's killing just about all of the angels that are in Boris Angels and Lyras and a whole lot of the other flying monstrosities that are in Standard at the moment. There's some 6/6 mono black stuff that's kicking around. This is also a good combat trick, so we're gonna be getting an army of 1 Thopters anyway, so we can -5 a 6/6 and block it with a 1/1, and it's still gonna die. It's just great in this deck. So running this guy definitely in a 3 of. I've got another one in the sideboard. Fountain of Renewal is again a 1-cost artifact, so it sits on the battlefield, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 1 life. That incremental life gain is really important in the aggro matchup, so it's not something to snuff at. It's also got pay 3, sacrifice it, and draw a card. So again, it's something that allows us to filter the card off the top if we want it to. Running a silver bullet copy of The Immortal Sun, which is a 6-cost legendary artifact. Players can't activate Planeswalker's loyalties abilities. So you got your Teferis, you got your Vraskas, you got all these really good Planeswalkers that everyone's playing, and this just shuts it down. Just get this on the board and it shuts it down completely. Fantastic card. It's also got, at the beginning of your draw step, you draw an additional card. So when Experimental Frenzy's out, this card isn't great, but if we haven't got Experimental Frenzy, this helps us get to it faster, which is always going to be good. Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, so it makes everything that we play cheaper. Again, great. And creatures you control get +1/+1, making all of our 1/1 Thopters 2/2s. That's also very valid. So we have a single copy of this in the sideboard as well, but yeah, I like one in the main board because it's not something that we want to see all the time. Because at 6 cost, it is quite high on the curve, but it's just a fantastic card. So this is the other namesake of the deck, and it's Sai Master Thoperist. He's a 3-cost guy, he's for 2 and a blue. He's a 1/4 legendary creature human artificer, with whenever you cast an artifact spell, you create a 1/1 flying Thopter creature token with flying. It's also got pay 2, so 1 and a blue. You sacrifice 2 artifacts to draw a card. So this guy filters cards off the top for experimental, when we need to. He is card advantage to get us into it faster, if we need to. He builds us a board full of creatures that can help us drag the game out long enough for us to get some combo going. And yeah, he's just an all-round insanely good card in this deck. So definitely running this guy in a 4 of. He's the thing that we're trying to build around, so that's why there's so many artifacts in the deck, is we just want to be able to get as many Thopters as often as possible. And yeah, with the wand being able to shuffle these guys back in, the only thing we're worried about is exile. I played this deck probably 40 times in testing, and every time I've played against control, Sai if they can't answer Sai the turn that he's played, you're getting value out of him. If they do answer him, as long as it's not exiling him, we can get him back with the wand, and it's always just gravy. It's great. Running a 4 of Joyra's Familiar, which is for 4. It's a 2/2 artifact creature bird with flying, and historic spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Artifacts, legendaries, and sagas are historic, with the exception of the land and probably 5 other cards in the deck. 6 other cards in the deck. Everything else in the list is a historic spell. So this makes nearly all of our spells free, or almost free. Especially with the 1-cost artifacts. But if we've got a couple of these guys out, covers all our 2-cost as well. Being able to play those cards off the top of the deck because of experimental for free, that's where we start comboing off, is when we've got a Joyra's out, we've got an experimental out, we've got a Sai out, and we just start comboing. It's great. For a bit of utility, we're running a 3 of Voltaic Servant, which is for 2. It's a 1/3 artifact creature construct, and at the beginning of your end step, you untap target artifact. Now, where this is relevant is it allows us to untap a Power Stone shard and get mana in our opponent's turn if we want it. We can untap a treasure map at the end of our turn, so after we've already used the ability once, we can use it again in their turn, getting more counters on it, allowing us to get to the flip side faster. And yeah, or it can be used to untap any of the artifacts that Sai produces. So the Thopters, we can untap them and then leave them up as blockers. Also running a 3 of Sky Scanner, which is for 3. It's a 1/1, so for 3 or 1/1's not great. It does have flying, but when it enters the battlefield, you also draw a card. A 1/1 body, it's an artifact. A lot of times we're playing it for a lot less than 3, but drawing a card when it comes in, it's just value. So I'm not running 4 of it because it is iffy on the stats, but I do like this card in the 3 of. Just touching back on control matchups. In the 40 games I played, probably half of them or more than half of them were against control, and there was 4 or 5 games where I would play against them, and I wasn't necessarily losing, but then I'd deck out. Nexus of Fate solves that problem. Nexus of Fate is for 7. It's 5 and 2 blue. At instant speed, you take an extra turn after this one, and then if Nexus of Fate would be put into your graveyard from anywhere, reveal Nexus of Fate, and then shuffle it into its owner's library instead. If they don't know what they're playing against, we're not going to let them see Nexus of Fate until way late in the game anyway. So if they're playing their Syncopates, they're usually wasting them on other stuff, like your Sai, your Experimental. So by the time we get to the bottom 2 cards of the deck, we've got an Experimental out, and we've just been playing cards off the top super aggressively for quite a lot of time, and they kind of just locked us out of the game a bit. But we get down to the last 2 cards being Nexus of Fate, we just roll into an infinite turn loop, and then a lot of the times you win. because they just can't do anything about it. Didn't want to. It's not like the plan. So in Turbo Fog, you want to be drawing into a Nexus of Fate into the mid to late game as often as possible, so that you can get a pseudo infinite turn kind of system happening. But this doesn't really draw too many cards like the Turbo Fog deck does. So we don't want to have too many Nexuses. And also at 7 cost, it's just not what the deck's trying to do. But it's in there specifically for the control matchup so that we don't deck ourselves. Or any game where it's just going to lag out a bit. But yeah, really good card. Definitely want it in a 2-of. Tezzeret Artifice Master is for 5, so 3 and 2 blue. It's a 5 loyalty Planeswalker with +1, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. For 0, you draw a card, but if you control 3 or more, you draw 2 cards. And then its Neg9 ability is you get an emblem with, at the beginning of your end step, you search your library for a permanent card, put it onto the battlefield, and then shuffle your library. If you wanted to make it more reliable, you could probably put in one or more Tezzerets, but I love this card. It's insanely good. I am running one in the sideboard. As far as win cons go, we've got another win con here in the form of the Antiquities War. Now this saga is insane, and it's for 4, so 3 and a blue. You look at the top 5 cards of your library, and then you reveal an artifact card from among them. You put that card into your hand, and then you put the rest of the cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. So that's what happens the turn you play it. The turn after it's played, you then do that again, and then the turn after that, artifacts you control become artifact creatures with base power and toughness 5/5 until end of turn. So it turns all of your treasure maps, your power stone shards, your anything that's an artifact, your 1/1 Thopters, they now become 5/5s, but they've still got flying. Your treasure tokens, they're an artifact. They become 5/5s. And it just turns all of our stuff into a giant beat stick, and we can just go sideways and win the game. And seemingly out of nowhere a lot of the time. But it's not the win con that we want. It's just an alternate win con if the Sai plan doesn't really go to plan. So I love the card. It's awesome. You could always run more if you want. I'm running another one in the sideboard. Just touching on the land base real quick. We're running a 2 of Memorial to Genius, which allows us to draw. It's 5 tap, so it comes in tap for blue. 5 tap, sacrifice Memorial to Genius, draw 2 cards. So it's just in there for a bit of draw card. Never go home without any field ruins. Killing non-basics is important. It's got 2 tap, sack it to do that, and everyone searches for a basic. Our basics are 4 mountains and 4 islands. We're running a 4 of Steam Vents, which is the Guild's Shock land for Izzet. We're also running a 4 of Sulphur Falls, which comes in tapped unless you control an island or a mountain, which a lot of the times we're going to. And that's the main deck. Just touching on the sideboard here real quick. Sorcerer's Spyglass is an artifact, so it synergizes with our Sai plan. But it also shuts down Planeswalkers, which is really important. So it's for 2, it's an artifact that sits on the battlefield. When it enters the battlefield, you look at target opponent's hand, and then you choose any card name. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. So the important thing to remember is that the card you name doesn't have to be something in their hand. So if you're versing a Turbo Fog deck, and you look at their hand, you can just go, okay, I play this and Teferi. Yet Teferi can't do anything now. That works with any of the Planeswalkers. There's going to be a lot of other stuff through the format that it's going to work with. It's all situational, but it is a really good control piece. It's a great card. The other copy of Tezzeret's in here. The other Immortal Sun. Running another Blood Tallow Candle. Another Antiquities War. This is a funky one with Chromatic Compass. It's for 2. It's an artifact sits on the battlefield. It's 3 tap, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, and then put it into your hand. Then shuffle your library. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 7 or more lands, you transform Chromatic Compass into Spire of Orzaka, or Orazka. It's tap, add 1 colorless, or untap target attacking creature an opponent controls and remove it from combat. So it basically turns into a Mazavith, and against an aggro matchup, this is something that you might want to put in there. I could probably put more other stuff in there. I just like the look of the Chromatic Compass. We're also running a little bit more removal in the form of Transmogrifying Wand, which is for 3. It's an artifact that sits on the battlefield. When it enters the battlefield, it actually gets 3 charge counters on it. And then its ability is 1 tap, remove a charge counter from it to destroy target creature. Its controller gets a 2/4 white Ox creature token, and you activate this ability only as a sorcery. So, being able to kill anything and swapping it with the 2/4 is a lot of the times going to be a good trade. It's just a fantastic card and it synergizes a lot in this deck. Also running a 2 of Niv Mizzet Parun, which is for 6, so 3 blue and 3 red. It's 5/5 that can't be countered. It's got flying. Whenever you draw a card, it deals damage to any target. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, you draw a card. Now, we're not running instants and sorceries except for the Nexus of Fate, so the draw card isn't relevant. But drawing cards every turn and then dealing incremental damage is going to be good. But in the control matchup, it's good because it can't be countered. It's just a great card overall. This is another side win con if we are coming up against something like Turbo Fog that's trying to lock out the game. Makeshift Munitions is for 2, it's an enchantment that sits on the battlefield. For 1 and a red, you put it on the battlefield and then it's got pay 1, sacrifice an artifact or creature. Makeshift Munitions deals 1 damage to target creature or player. This is removal if we want it. So removal on a stick if we want it, or this is just direct damage to the face if we can't get through any other way. It's just a really good key sideboard piece against stuff like Turbo Fog. So that's the sideboard. This has been Experimental Sai. This deck is a whole lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you like the deck, if you didn't like the deck, if you like the cards, if you think I'm missing something, let me know in the comments below. Do the normal YouTube stuff. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. And keep questing, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.